Prince Caspian. You know, not bad for a metrosexual who fights amongst a lot of talking animals.
Yeah, he looks like a gay young Mexican Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Well, it's pronounced Oliphant, and
I mispronounce every celebrity's name on purpose. It's my thing.
why is it every time you guys see a guy you're attracted to, you have to refer to him as a metrosexual?
Oh, because he has such nice full hair. I mean, it's feathered just right.
Is it not the problem that he has the Spanish accent?
That fake Spanish accent? No, I can tell you it's definitely not that.
Yeah, he ain't Spanish.
I've seen. Yeah.
I am Prince Caspian, the pool boy.
No, I've seen.
I am here to clean up Narnia.
Yeah, no,
I am Prince Caspian, and what we're doing today is we're going to. It just slips in and out whenever it's convenient.
Yeah, no, that's sort of a bit. I've seen Rice more Spanish than he is, but he's. I mean, no, this movie
Rice more Spanish than he is.
Spanish Rice, man. More authentic than this dude ever was. But this movie, I did like it better than the previous movie, and I actually kind of enjoyed the first Chronicles of Narnia.
No, I think the first Chronicles of Narnia, it's not terrible. It's just not good enough to go back and see again. You know, you're like, well, it's really flawed. The CG is really annoying. A lot of the Christian overtones are just a little too get up and smack you in the face for my personal tastes. And overall, I was like, well, it was all right. But this one, they sat and they watched the Lord of the Rings films. A lot, because it's good in some ways, because the pace feels more like sort of like important, like when you're watching and it's all like, oh, this is all fantastic and old and filled with magic, and you really buy into it. But then at other times they're just like, well, let's just steal this whole section completely.
Well, the thing is that this is a much more mature film, and that I think is what's going to make the difference with people. The first film, it's like, oh look, we're in a magical land. Oh look, it's Santa Claus. Now I love the movie, but even when I told people whether or not they should go see it, I said, well, you know, if you could still watch a movie as a little kid and sit there and let the 8-year-old inside of you come out and watch this movie, you're going to dig it. But it really is way too kiddie. This, they threw out all the kiddie stuff and just went for the meat and the potatoes and the badass, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's funny because they got talking badgers, talking mice, and all, and they are probably better actors than the human beings in this movie. In fact, some of your bigger names in the movie, they're hidden behind CG characters, such as Liam Neeson as Aslan and Eddie Izzard as that little swashbuckling mouse.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard, for one, is Reepicheep, the talking mouse. They could have played up to be like Puss in Boots, but instead, they make him a little bloodthirsty badass.
What's his name? Reepicheep.
Reepicheep. Yeah, admittedly, he could have been a little tougher with a tougher name, but what are you going to do? You're not going to change that.
That was the name from the book.
It's one of the characters people remember. Reepicheep.
No, it's...
Oh, my God. I wrote a bit about this on another site, and when I saw some early footage of this like 7 months ago, and I referred to him as a rat. Offhand, and the Narnia boards picked it up and they lost their fucking minds. They were like, don't they understand he's a mouse and not a rat? How dare he call him a rat? He's Reepicheep, the most noble of the mice. And I'm like, oh my God, you people. I thought I was a fucking dork, but you guys took me to Dorktown and dorked all over my ass.
No, if you are a grown man, those words are uttered from your mouth. He is the noblest of all mice. Then you need to get a life check or something, because you had no business saying this shit. But
he does need a life check. Actually, now that you mention it.
No, the movie itself. It starts out, okay, well, so I never read these books. I actually read the Chronicles of Narnia when I was like about 12 or 11, but this one, I didn't read this book. So
They're all the Chronicles of Narnia. They all have completely different titles.
Well, the first book.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
You understand what I'm saying. Yeah, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I read that book.
Which is the second book.
Well, I read that because they had that cartoon at the time.
I'm a dork.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, man, you were that guy who said he was the noblest of all mice, aren't you?
No, actually, I just
how dare you fuck with him?
I just picked the book up off my shelf today that has all 7 of the books in it, and I opened it up and I said, oh wow, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe isn't the first book; it's the second book.
Well, they reorganized them later. In publication terms, it was the first book. In time frame, it's.
I read one of the fucking books where the white queen bitch was given.
What do we care?
Turkish
read a
candy.
book. Wow,
yeah,
way
exactly.
to go.
Yeah, exactly. I barely read that, but
Turkish Delight.
Turkish Delight, whatever the fuck, man. Anyway, I was 12 I was fucking 12 at the time, so fucking.
That was the last book Corey read.
Yeah, I moved on to Dr. Seuss from that point on. No, I I don't remember too much about that book when I read it. Don't remember too much about the movie that I last saw. But this movie, I didn't read the book at all. So what is this about?
This is really close to the book, actually, in most things. I mean, there's things they've tweaked here and there, little bits they've added, but essentially the kids, who, if you remember at the end of the last movie, got forcibly, after living out like a whole life in Narnia, like they're all grown up and shit, boom, they're back in England and they're all kids again, which would, I don't know, there's a cross between totally suck and awesome. Because what? It's kind of like immortality in a weird sort of way. You get to start over with everything you've learned. But anyway, so in this one, there's a year later, they're all depressed and they get sucked through a totally different way back into Narnia, where there's everything's changed. It's hundreds of years later, and there's this whole group of Spaniards who are bad men who've taken over and forced all the Narnians into the woods. And it's been so long now they don't even really believe in them anymore.
Well, the easy way to describe it is they've come back to Narnia 1,300 years later, and since they were gone, the world has gone to shit.
It has indeed gone
to shit. And they are thought of as these long ago saviors, these ancient kings and queens of myth and legend, and all of a sudden they show up and everybody goes, oh great, you're here, come and solve all our problems for us. So of course they go, well, we're English, of course we will. So they march in and it's all about ass kicking from there.
Yeah. No, it's funny though, because they find the ruins of their castle and it's just demolished, right? There's nothing left. And yet somehow they they easily find and push open this not very well concealed secret door, one of the few structures still standing. It leads down to like a treasure room, and you're like, so no one found this?
Well, this is funny because in the first movie, they walk into a closet and then they end up in this magical land. I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool, lad. Yeah, the closet's hidden. It's in some crazy house.
You've been spending years in the closet.
Exactly. You go in that closet and it's like a centuries, and you come back out and it's like, ain't no time's passed. But
plus, it's cool. You get to hang out with Tom Cruise.
But apparently in this movie, you're sitting in a subway. You're just sitting on a bench waiting on the train to come by, and out of nowhere you just get sucked into Narnia. And I'm thinking, damn, shouldn't Narnia be filled with like homeless tunnel people? And
well, it kind of is, really, except they're all dwarves and minotaurs and shit. They look pretty cruddy.
They get summoned. Somebody blows a horn, and all of a sudden it's like, it feels like magic. That was actually the one line that kind of messed with me, where they're like, what is that? And someone's like, it feels like magic.
Yeah, that's what happens.
You know what? No, that's not what that feels like. That's called molestation. Yeah, okay.
Prince Caspian blew their horn, and so ow.
No, it's true. It's like,
and then he ends up sword fighting with one of the guys.
No, Prince Caspian blows a horn, and then back on our world, it's like a little girl's like, did you just touch my ass? And it's like, is that the doorway to Narnia? A little girl's ass?
There's some subtext here that I'm not entirely
exactly. But the reason why I was asking what this movie's about, because when I'm watching, like I said, I haven't read that book, and I'm watching this movie, and I'm thinking there really is not a whole lot of plot here. They set up something for about the first 20, 30 or so minutes, and then after that, it's just one long war movie with imaginary creatures fighting these Spaniards. Yeah. And
you know what? It was funny because we went to the special screening tonight. There were 2 screenings in town. We got invited to the one by like the Mexican Alliance, and I'm like, why are they doing something like that? And then we show up and like half the actors in the film are Hispanic. It's like with bad Spanish
all
accents.
but one are evil.
Yeah,
and that guy's not even Spanish,
and he's not even Spanish.
No, you're right. It's like an army full of Antonio Banderas. It's like, that's Antonio Banderas with a beard. That's Antonio Banderas without a beard.
It's because that's the only Mexican you know.
Oh, wait a second. So let me get this straight. So this is the George Bush movie where George Bush goes away for 1,300 years, and when he comes